Hello, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful week. A lot of good hits this past week as far as targets being met. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. Dollar had a very strong week. Obviously, we ended up making support here real nice. Obviously, on the lower level details and what I've been providing with my members, they were more acutely aware of the different support levels and everything. Whereas, obviously, with the YouTube subscribers, was a little bit more general in the directions here, but was still expecting overall that we would see a nice little push to the upside if we could get above that 786. I think, as I mentioned in my last video. So we can go ahead and just take care of this one right here and just get rid of that. And we can go ahead and clear out this fib at this point as well. So basically what ended up happening here is we saw a nice little move to the upside very clearly. What I'm watching here now is this little trend line support, thinking that obviously near term we have a pretty solid peak in place here near that 98 level. I think I pointed that out in previous videos as well. So what I expect to see here is some chopping action here with a potential uh, next level push here into the 98, just again to test that resistance, followed by a nice little push to the downside. Now if we do break this trend line here around at 97.50, probably looking at a little bit further dip off that into like the lower 97.16 area, and then another bounce back up at that time. So the main key here is that I'm watching for obviously is the trend line support, and it works out to be around that 97.40 level. So again, watch that 97.40 level. Looking back in time, obviously, let me just get this out of the way. Looking at this overall level, you can see we've had quite a bit of resistance in this area over time, and again, even recently, 97, 30, 97.40 was that zone. So I expect to see a little bit of a pullback here near term. If you look at your RSI, obviously it's a little bit overheated right now, due for a little bit of a breather at the very minimum, looking at 97, 35, 40-ish, and then we should see another bounce back up or a breakdown at that point in time to around that 97, 16, 97, 15 area at the very least. And if that ends up breaking down, and obviously you have another lower level of support down in here. So usually after these big rips, we have some, pretty nice little pullbacks, as you can see here, moving up into that 97, 65 area. We had a nice little pullback here again. So nice little run up here, no reason to expect that we shouldn't see some pullbacks over time. And then if we ended up cracking below that 97.40 area, then we should start pulling back again into around that 96. And again, it's not going to happen this week. It's going to happen over time. So just on a very general high level, high touch, again, trying to point out as we move forward in time, probably looking at this trending to the downside, assuming that we break that 97.40 area. If we hold that 97.40 and we do go ahead and challenge that 98 level again, I do have a mark going up to about 98.40 as the level to really watch for as far as a sustained upside move from here. Now again, we did put in a very nice high. It's been some time since we've been in this region, and again, it is the highest close that we've had in quite a while. So again, after such a move, usually you get a little bit of a pullback for it to regain itself a little bit, consolidate at this level, and if she fails consolidation, then obviously you're looking at a reversion into the channel here that we've been kind of going in between of 96 and around that 97, 35, 40 area. So if that is the case, if we break and unable to consolidate higher, then obviously we'll be pushing down again 96.50, and then so on down to 96 as we push out in the coming weeks. So that's what I see here for the dollar index. Let's just go ahead and keep it moving. Looking at gold. Gold had a very surprisingly strong week here, a little bit more than I was looking for, which is okay. Again, not able to hit 100% of every type of forecast that I can provide. But I did mention, keep your eye on that 1270 level. If we ended up holding that, and we did break it a little bit around that 1266 area, came right back up, challenged at 1287. Once again, still coming up into resistance. So just be very careful here. Still have an opportunity for price to kind of come back down into those 1276s and then kind of chop around a little bit, maybe run up into around 1294ish, 1295, and then if the dollar goes ahead and continues to push to the upside, again, the consolidation being kept in mind, if she happens to hold that 97.40 area, then obviously gold may start to again push to the downside and then make its way down into those 1250s, 1260 areas. So again, we'll probably look for a bounce at that time all the way back into those 1280s. Now, in the opposite, if the dollar does go ahead and fail, then obviously we'll start to see gold start pushing back up into those 1300s to 1307 to 1310s once again. So that will be a breakout of this weekly downtrend line here, and then we can start talking about consolidating outside of this area here, chopping around, and then moving back up into those 1330s, so to speak. But as far as near term, we have a lot to overcome, a lot of consolidation that's needed here. If again, if the dollar breaks down 97.40, looking at gold moving back up into the 1300 area to about 1305, 1307s, and conversely, if the dollar does end up holding 97.40, then again you're going to probably see the you're going to see gold start drifting back down off the resistance of that 1286, 1287 mark, and then moving back down at around 1255, 1260 before another bounce back up into the 1280 can be had. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that for next week's reference points, and we'll go ahead and look at crude oil. Now, crude was hilarious because I put out the video last week, and then all of a sudden we had the Iranian news as far as the oil imports and whatnot. So instead of having that top put in where it should have been, we had an additional short squeeze come up and squeeze us into 66, close to 67, which is hilarious. But that being said, again, we did end up coming right back down right into the 62.70 area, and again we're starting to kind of break down back under this channel line support. So we're back in this tight channel again. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this for now. It's a little too unnecessary. Have these little things going on, and get rid of that too while we're at it. So again, still expect to see crude kind of bounce around a little bit in here. Looking at the daily time frame, I mean obviously the direction is still what I'm thinking is to the downside here as we head out. This is a longer term view right here, so just keep that in mind. But I do think that we're going to end up holding this zone right here on at 62.37. We're going to probably, did not mean to put that there, probably look for another push up into those 64s where we're going to have another failure, and at that point in time we will start drifting to the downside 62, another little bounce here around 62.60s, and then looking for another push to the downside. Now obviously I'm not speaking blindly looking at this. I've already done my member videos, so I'm well aware of the different areas. So if you think I'm just like, oh well, he's just drawing a line and thinking it's going to go that way, no, I'm already well aware of the lower level area in the minutia, so to speak. So that's why I can go ahead and draw these. And again, if you're looking at this, you can kind of see a little bit of a resistance path here going sideways. So if you have some kind of creativity and you can see the pattern kind of shaping up to be potentially a head and shoulders type of a move, with the neckline being here and then again taking you down into this area. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete these for now, just so that I can not confuse myself or anybody else that's viewing this, especially next week, because I don't touch this template that I have these charts for everybody on YouTube. I keep them separate from what I provide with my members. That way, at least next video that comes up, I can go ahead and be able to provide what the forecasted move was versus to do that, talking and updating my charts at the same time, not a good recipe. So I keep them separate just so that at least I have for reference for everybody that did not see last week's video, so that way at least you could see what's going on and what I think is going to be happening from what I said last week versus what the outcome was, and then you could see it in one video. So that's why I leave those lines in there, and I moved that line that was here with the longer term into I removed it from the daily view here just so I could show it on like the weekly view, and etc. So again, I still think that we're going to bounce near term up to around 64, and then we'll probably see a continuation to the downside here around 61, 62-ish, and then bounce back up a little bit here and then follow through again. It's not going to happen this week. It's going to take probably another week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks for this move to play out to the downside here. We'll see how aggressive the sell-off is, but again, once we do break below that 61, let's call it 61.85, 61.90. Once we break below that, then obviously we're going to be heading down pretty quickly to the 60, 50, 59.90 area once again, and then we'll start seeing some bids come in here once again as we are near another fib level, which is that 50% fib level. So it's been a heck of a run for crude. Obviously we haven't had a nice little pullback like this in quite some time. If she fails to break above that 64 area, we still have a topside resistance here around 64.50, it looks like 64.45-ish. that ends up holding as resistance, then obviously we'll be coming back down. And the pattern is still relatively intact too, as far as the head and shoulders is concerned too. So interim bounce here up to 64 to 64.45, followed by a follow through break of 62 into the 60 level as we head out into the future. So that being said, I'm done rambling. Let's go ahead and continue forward. Natural gas, again, another one that had been, I just had its number this past week pretty accurately, if I may say so myself. Believed that we were going to go down to uh, around a low of 247. We ended up hitting a low around 247.8. Ended up seeing a nice little push back up here. And let me just go ahead and move this fib over because that's driving me nuts. Make sure that's in alignment. I can go ahead and kill this other one. That's an old fib. I'm not sure why that's still there. Probably didn't remove the last time I made my edits. Okay. So that being said here, could have had another trend line in here. But that being said, it was a nice little mover. Go ahead and get rid of this at this time. It's unnecessary. This is the level that I'm actually kind of watching right now, is to see if we can hold that. I don't really think that we will. I think we're going to end up breaking out of that. And I'll show you. I think we're kind of going to drift like so. Try for another 2.5958, and then a breakdown consolidation, and then we'll see if we can go ahead and get a nice little move up into around 262.4 as we head out into the future, or if we can go ahead and break down again to those 2.5s. If we hold it, then again we'll try to push above the 2.54. So there's a few different ways that this can go at this point. It's been a nice little run so far. We may end up, again, pushing into this zone. I think we need to kind of relax, consolidate a little bit within the 2.54 to about the 2.585 zone, channel that for a little bit, and then we can start talking about a 2.62 test to the upside. If anybody has any questions, comment, concerns, you can always go ahead and reach me at thetradersperspective@gmail.com. Comment on my video itself, and I'll try to respond accordingly. Again, I hope you all have a wonderful and green trading week. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for my weekly updates.